Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community and neighborhoods. And now from 4Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning. Welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. We have an opportunity today. Last week we spoke about Tom and Felicita Stone, their acquisition of the Knollwood House in Knollwood Heights. And we've focused so many shows on people coming and going in Moore County this year, since so many events have been put off, curtailed, postponed.
Canceled altogether?
Yeah. So we've had a lot of great human interest stories this year. There's been a lot of press in the papers about our vibrant real estate market, the vast number of military families migrating to Moore County. And today we're going to be speaking with Asia Riesberg, who I got a chance to first speak with, I believe it was last December. And Asia and her family have now moved into Southern Pines, but their story is something we want to talk about today. Asia is a native of Massachusetts. She used to live in Southern Pines. Her family moved to Colorado and have since been transferred back here. So she was very familiar with Moore County. But we've talked this year about how many people have purchased homes online who have not physically been in the home, and sometimes how difficult that can be.
I can only imagine how difficult that would be.
Yeah, I mean, but Asia is cut from a different cloth. She's an old soul, very charismatic, very bright. Loved talking to her on the phone. I used to look forward to her phone calls. I did. So help me, I did. And we would talk for 30, 40 minutes. And, sometimes when you talk to somebody, you either have a rhythm or you don't. And you don't know why. You do or you don't.
Right.
So with her, I felt I did. So when I'd get a call, I would put my sneakers on because I knew we were going to have a vigorous conversation. And I think, Asia, the phone calls were always against a backdrop of a lot of construction noise because I was renovating a home at the time and spending a lot of time there.
Yep.
But they were, I enjoyed the phone calls. You probably thought, oh my gosh, I just want to buy a house and I'm having all these sessions with Bill on the phone. But they were fun.
It was fun.
You lived here when you were in Southern Pines?
So we last left Southern Pines 3 years ago, almost exactly 3 years ago. We only lived here for 2 years that time around.
Right.
We rented that time around.
Okay.
And then we found out we were coming back here probably a year ago. And we knew we wanted to come back to Southern Pines. We loved the experience that we had here in the community.
You were transferred, you were in Colorado Springs?
Colorado Springs, yeah.
For three and a half years.
3 years there. We've kind of bounced back and forth between Southern Pines and Colorado Springs and Fayetteville early on. I don't know why they don't send us anywhere else, but it's worked out because we've made friends in both locations, and it was kind of nice to come back to a familiar place.
And you have 3 children. Your daughter actually graduated from Pinecrest.
Didn't graduate.
Didn't
She
graduate.
did freshman, sophomore year there. And then we moved to Colorado, and she went to high school on the Air Force Academy grounds, which was a kind of neat experience. And she's at University of Colorado in Boulder now.
And you have 2 young boys, 7 and 4.
Yes.
So it's almost like raising not 2 generations, but
It is.
There's a divide there.
It's a huge divide, and having everyone home the past 6 months from school and college was quite an experience.
How when we first spoke in December, we actually put an offer on a home in Knollwood Heights right after the first of the year. I think it was the 3rd or 4th of January. And it was a situation where you said to me, you know, I know Southern Pines, but you couldn't physically get over here.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember calling you and saying, so the agent that has the home listed has told me there are 3 offers on the house. In January, we did not know that that was going to be a precursor of what 2020 was going to bring. We've had a multitude of multiple offers on homes.
Yeah.
We didn't have the same sense of it in January. We just thought, bad luck, 3 offers in. What are we going to do?
Right.
What was your posture, your position at that time when I told you that? Because I thought you handled it very well.
You know, I'm gonna brag on you a little bit here. We had talked maybe once or twice on the phone at that point.
Right.
And I just got a really great sense of that you were honest and that you had a great sense of the town and, the homes and the neighborhoods. And I just really trusted you. And so when you said, this is your house,
Right.
I said, okay. And my husband and I were actually like sitting in a Red Robin. And
What's a Red Robin?
like the burger restaurant.
I don't know.
Bill.
Oh, a Red Robin. Okay.
I don't think they have them in New England.
I don't think they do either. Okay.
Yeah. And you said, and I said to Jamie, like, Bill thinks we should buy this house. And he said, okay, put an offer on it. And so we did, like thinking, we saw the pictures only.
I remember when your response to the fact that there were 3 offers already on the home, and I knew that the inventory was low, you said to me, so what do you think we should do? How should we approach it? And I remember being very bold, saying you need to put in your best offer up front, and you need to be aggressive.
Yeah.
I don't remember all the logistics, but I think you went in at $3,000 to $4,000 above the ask price.
3,000 above.
Okay.
Yep.
And that was pretty bold, but we had an advantage of knowing there were already 3 offers.
Right.
The person who wrote that first offer didn't have that psychological advantage, so they might have made an offer based on one offer coming in on a house.
Right.
So we kind of were able to trump that situation a little bit. Anyway, your offer was accepted. But what we did was I had asked you for a picture, a family photo.
Yeah.
We were going to send the listing agent, David Wilson, a letter.
Yeah.
So he would share with the sellers.
Yeah.
And we did, and the picture was great. And your daughter, she's 19 or 20 now.
Yeah. Almost 20.
So she looks older than her age from that picture.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think I'd like to say people think we're sisters.
Yeah. You should see the pic. We're going to actually put it on the podcast. I would agree with that. You look like, at first, I go, is that really your daughter?
Yeah.
And then you have Jason Ty, who, like a completely different, almost like a different family.
It is. I feel like I've lived these 2 separate lives already. With Ella, the first round, and then the little boys, the second round. I had no idea what I was getting into with boys.
Right. Did you have brothers?
I had a younger brother, quite a bit younger, so it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And 2 boys. You put 2 boys together, and it's, my goodness.
And you go, what planet did you guys come from, right?
Yeah. I am just thanking my lucky stars that they're at Episcopal Day School, and they are going 5 days a week, full days. And thank goodness for that. I love them dearly, but.
Have they started, because the pandemic really was not a thing at the time you made the offer.
Yeah.
You got here this summer. Are they going to school daily? Are they doing a split, like a hybrid type plan?
They're full-time.
Full-time.
Yeah, thank goodness. And they are so excited to be back to school because they've been gone. The first week in March was their last time that they were in school. So they were just so excited to get back and making friends. And, it's a tough it's a tough thing moving anyway and making new friends and starting at a new school. But after being out of school for 6 months, they are just they're amped.
They're amped.
They are.
Your home, your home has a great outdoor environment. It's got a swimming pool, built-in babysitter.
Oh my gosh. Except it's like 7 feet deep, the entire
Yeah.
thing. So the little one has had to learn how to swim really well, really quick.
And he has.
He has, yeah. Yeah, amazingly. Like this kid, I can't even believe it. He dives to the bottom of the pool to get, dive sticks.
Is that right?
He's 4, yeah. Yeah. So
if a pool is 7 feet all the way through, then does that mean that that's just a lap pool
I guess, but it's big.
for adults?
It's large.
It is large.
Yeah.
And I never understood that it was not graduated.
I never knew it existed to have a pool like that.
Yeah.
And I would like to just wade and not get wet,
Right.
know? So I had to get some big tubes so that I can just like fall into them. And
So when the boys moved here, they got to come to their new house and see
Yeah.
a pool. They probably thought they were in Disneyland.
they love swimming.
Right.
And in Colorado, we maybe have 2 months of swimmable weather. So they are really, really excited about that. And obviously, it's good for making friends to have a pool because you can invite them over
Exactly.
to swim. So,
Talking about friends, you had made a lot of friends here in Southern Pines.
Yes.
And are most of those friends still here 3 years later?
some of them. So, it is the great thing about Fort Bragg is a lot of families stick around. So, there are, I would say, 3 or 4 families that we were really close with last time around who are still here. In fact, one of my friends, Jen
Collins.
is who gave me your name.
Right.
And she said, if you're going to call anyone, you have to call Bill.
Right.
And
Right.
the stars aligned.
The stars aligned. Spending 3 years there, did it give you enough time to put roots down, or did you have to? Because you have your husband is a doctor in the military. You have your own career.
Yeah.
How do you? And you have kids. I mean, you're
Yeah.
multitasking.
Yeah.
How do you handle it all? Because you're the one that has to
Luckily-
pivot all the time.
Yes. So luckily, multitasking is my forte.
Yeah.
And if I'm not multitasking, I get a little bored. So
Dorothy, do you hear the conviction in her voice? Everything she says just has like an edge to it, a good edge, right? It's got a point of view.
Yes, it does.
That's what I was drawn to, because sometimes I have to just interrupt. So sometimes, you talk to people and you go, oh, you want to yawn, and you just, they're not on the balls of their feet, right? So when she was on the phone, I would put her on speakerphone. Number one, because we had construction going on in the background, but she was like instantly engaging and smart and just like this.
Wow.
It's yeah.
I think you think I'm more interesting than I
Is
actually
she
am.
not? No. I mean, is she not? I mean, I think she should come on and talk about subjects she knows nothing about with guests, and she can just be an
With
ad-libber.
conviction.
There you go.
Yeah. I do. I feel like that's always kind of helped me in the business world is you can just talk about anything with anybody.
Right.
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 So, but I think, so my husband grew up in Colorado where things are a little more laid back. And I think he was a little put off by my directness at first, but he's learned to love it.
He's learned to love it. And then the sense of humor comes for free on top of all of that, Dorothy. We're gonna come back in the second set. I want to talk a little bit about how you pivot and what you're going to be doing and what you did in Colorado, and what it feels like to finally be here, and the story about your delayed your closing, your delayed arrival.
Yeah.
But some fortuitous things happened in terms of the listing agent, David Wilson, and his daughter, who's building a house. There's a lot to talk about. Asia Riesberg is our guest. This is All Things Moore County. We'll be right back. You get spoiled and you
do.
compare everything. But you know what happens when you're here? It kind of dumbs you down when you get out of New York. Everything all of a sudden starts to appear good.
Though there are great restaurants in this town.
There are some.
are.
Compared to what it was like 10 years ago,
Yeah.
not even close. I mean, you actually have choices. Do
Yeah.
you like Middle Eastern food?
Yes.
Have you been to the Grape Leaf Bistro yet?
No.
Oh, you got to go.
Okay.
And for takeout,
Okay.
they're next to the Olive Garden,
Yeah.
and it's authentic.
Okay.
I grew up in a Middle Eastern family, and my grandmothers would compete for our attention with the food they cooked as kids. So we ate like gourmets. And it's
so good.
very authentic. Grape Leaf Bistro. Dorothy, we're back on. So I'm just comparing notes with Asia. She's originally from Massachusetts, and just trying to get a feel for what I used to do, and I guess what you used to do.
Yeah.
So your career, you were in the insurance industry for how long?
I worked for Mass Mutual Life Insurance Company and all of its subsidiaries over a period of about 10 years. I worked in Boston for a couple of years for an investment banking company.
Right.
The commute killed me, and I had my daughter at the time was only 4, I think. So that was it was too much at that time, but really fun. I was there when the Red Sox won the World Series.
Oh, was that the year that they beat the Yankees when they came back and won 4 in a row?
Yes.
I love that because I hate the Yankees.
I know.
I'm a Met fan.
Well, and I think we established that within minutes of talking the first time.
That's right.
So, yeah. So
one of the things, so you've been in different businesses. When you were here in Southern Pines, were you working then?
no, I actually, when Jamie and I got married, I stopped working because I left Massachusetts. I left my company. I left
Right.
everything. We moved to Colorado, which was completely new for Ella and I. And I kind of just took some time off to get her feet under her and to get my feet under me.
Right.
It was my first time as anything military related. So that was a huge adjustment. And it took us a couple of years to figure ourselves out, for me to figure myself out in this new reality.
Yeah.
So I took time off from work for a few years. I really just went, and then I had the 2 boys. So again, took some time off there. Really just went back to work, I would say 2 or 3 years ago.
In Colorado.
Part-time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed it. I just missed interacting with people and just working. I really love working, and I really love people, and being home with 2 boys who are just
Exhausting.
Yeah. And they just beat you down.
Right.
They're great, but I needed something to feed my soul.
Right. But now you're back in Southern Pines, and now your family's a little bit older, and you're at a stage right now where maybe you're looking forward.
Yeah.
This trip to Southern Pines is different because now there might be opportunity for you to start looking into.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely something I've been thinking about and we've been talking about. I think I wanted to take some time. The house, I have some projects planned for the house.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to take some time to get the house up to where I want it. And then, I'm going to ask you.
The answer is yes.
Because you know everyone
Yeah.
in town. And
one of the things, Dorothy, I really liked about Asia was so they go ahead, they make this offer on this home with 3 others on the table. They get it. They move forward. She says, okay. She said, so we're not really moving until July 1. This was before March and the pandemic.
Yeah.
And she said, now there's a few things I want to do to the home prior to coming.
Right.
I said, okay. So she wanted to start executing some new flooring, some new painting, basically getting the home, trying to manage the property from Colorado, but just to do a couple of things so it would lighten her load when she got here. So we did. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And all of that was done. And then with the pandemic and travel plans being put on hold, and if I'm not mistaken, at some point, you did not know when you were going to leave.
We didn't know if we were going to leave.
Right.
I remember we got back from our vacation and everything had shut down, and I called you in a panic.
Right.
Thinking, we might not come back to Southern Pines, period.
Right. And you asked about what is the rentability of the house full
Right.
time or the resaleability of the home.
Right.
But we were able to do a minor stopgap measure. Bree Sheridan, who's a broker in our office, just so happens
Yeah.
her husband is deployed right
Yeah.
now. So Bree is building a home
Yeah.
not far from you at
Yeah.
all. And her son, if I'm not mistaken, is 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I think very close
I
to.
believe he's going into first grade this year, so
does
he's
that make him
probably 6.
6 years
yeah.
old?
Yeah.
So she's building a new home, and she was selling her home, and she got a contract on her
Yeah.
home. So I said to David, I said, Asia is not going to be here for a while, and we were able to put together the scenario where Bree moved in and rented
Yeah.
from you for a short period of time.
Yep.
And you still haven't had a chance to meet Bree.
I haven't. She was
Okay.
going to stop by the other day to pick up some mail that I had for her, but our movers came the same day.
Yeah.
So she's gonna wait a few
She
days.
will. Her son loved the pool.
I bet.
Oh my God! And but literally, you could say you're walking distance from where she is. She's right off PD Road,
Yeah.
off Newton Road,
Okay.
and building a very nice home. And they should be in, I think, sometime in September.
Yeah.
So it's been an active summer. It worked out that you came, but there was a period of time where your husband was traveling and came back and had to be quarantined for a period of 2 weeks, or
Yes. We actually went on vacation to Mexico
that's it.
that first week in March, and we tried. He's got his hand on the pulse of everything that's going on in the world medically, right? So he knew something was coming, and we even tried to cancel this trip to Mexico, and Costco Travel was like, no, there's no reason. We get to Mexico, and the next day they shut down schools. His commander called him and told him to come home. So anyway, it's the Army rule that when he came home from another country, he would be quarantined for 2 weeks. So we went to Mexico, had an amazing time. He worked the whole time on the beach, and then we came back, and everybody was home. My daughter, her school got shut down. She came home. The boys were home. He was working from our bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was an interesting time.
And when you got here a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
your truck was held up. You had no furniture. You were living on air
Yeah,
mattresses.
so everything. I mean, so there was a stop movement order with the Army. So there was no moves happening for I would say 3 months, I believe.
Yeah.
So everything, you think about the thousands and thousands of families who move every summer, those were all pushed back. And then we had originally a July move date that changed, and then it got changed to September, and then it got changed to August. So we finally got here in August. But yeah, the movers are also backlogged because all of those thousands of families who didn't move in May and June are now trying to move. So we were here for a week, and all of our worldly possessions were still in Colorado Springs.
Right.
And so I was a little anxious.
The trials and the tribulations of being a military family.
I had no idea.
Early on.
I had no idea what I was getting into. I don't think unless you've lived it, you really do understand
Right.
the planning that goes into it. I mean, I started in January, right? We found schools. Luckily we already had doctors here and,
Right.
some friends, and we know where the grocery store is, things like that. But you have to start completely fresh
Right.
every time. And
What do you think? Do you know at this point what the horizon is for you to be here? Is it more long term now?
it'll be 3 years, I believe.
Only 3 years.
Only 3 years.
Would
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty typical. I think here you can stay longer if you stay in jobs that are at Fort Bragg, but typically you would move around the country to different bases. Jamie is eligible to retire after this 3 years, so that's also on our radar we'll stay in longer or if he'll get out and be a normal person. I can't imagine.
Which means you would be a normal person.
Yeah, I don't know if that's possible.
It is. But I mean, the possibility of an extended stay here, of more permanence, is real.
We could, yeah. I mean, he could stay here as long as he wanted to. There are so many opportunities to stay at Fort Bragg.
Right.
He could retire, and we could stay here if he found the right position. We love our house. We love this town. We love North Carolina. So
yeah. And you have, with the trials and the tribulations of what it's like to move in a military environment, what you have to put up with. You also have a support group because you have other friends and family who are going through the same thing.
Yeah, I would say friends. My family is not. They don't understand military stuff, but the friends that I've made here in Southern Pines have been the closest I've ever made anywhere.
Right.
And that was last time around a huge support. We had probably a group of 6 of us with kids similar ages, husbands. Half of the husbands were always gone, and everyone just took care of each other. And that was, every place I go, I learn something from the people and from the place. And, I learned a lot from those friends last time around.
Right.
And so I have really sweet memories of Southern Pines.
In this age of Zoom, and looking at people online, regardless of where the people are today, 5 or 6 years from now, the friendships that you formed here, you can keep regardless of where they move.
You can.
And the kids as well.
Yeah. I think you can. It's harder when you don't see people face to face every day, but you can.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to come back in the third set. We're speaking with Asia Riesberg and just about the logistics of moves. She's here. Her furniture's here, so we
I'm
can.
not unpacked.
You're not unpacked. You start. It came this week.
It came on Tuesday.
Yeah. So you're up to your eyeballs in boxes.
Yeah. You're lucky I found appropriate clothes.
You did a good. You pulled it. You pulled it off. This is All Things More County. We'll be right back.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But I think I'm true to who I am.
Right.
I'm not going to do teas, but I'll invite friends over to use the pool.
You made a comment when you bought this home, because we had a conversation about the home and Southern Pines values in real estate. Mm-hmm. And I think you threw out there, or I did, somehow you were looking at it as possibly a transitional home.
Yeah.
Not a forever home.
Right.
So one of the things I find in our business, because you've been in business, and we were talking at the break that sometimes our business is not about real estate as much as it is, or insurance.
Yeah.
But it is about understanding people's motivations.
Yeah.
Setting their expectations.
Yeah.
And going from there. So many young buyers, when they're buying a home, they have this mindset that they're purchasing a forever home.
Right.
And that is not the... How many times... So you guys have been married how long?
11 years.
How many times have you moved in 11 years?
Oh, goodness.
She just answered the question. Oh, goodness. It doesn't matter.
It's a lot, I'm sure.
A lot. Not as much as some families do. We stayed in Colorado for 6 years at one stretch. Jamie wasn't with us the whole time he was here, but we've moved a bit.
So even, and you guys, so you were not first time buyers. You were experienced investors. You even had a property in Fayetteville. Did you live in Fayetteville for a while?
So Jamie lived in Fayetteville. He was at Fort Bragg when we first met, and he was here for a few years and he bought a condo. He was new out of medical school and lived there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then we kept it as an investment property. The condo complex kind of went downhill. So We weren't able to sell it, so we rented it.
So you did sell it this year.
We did.
And
Thank
we
goodness.
had some interesting conversations about that experience because you were doing it from afar. And so Dorothy, her frustration with the process was, again, it was just conviction on steroids, on overdrive. She didn't understand why things weren't being done in the way that she wanted them to be done. And that's where your pizzazz and your personality came out. But you were able to transition from one broker to another and all of a sudden get results.
Yes, it was night and day. The first broker was, I think we were his first listing, and it was a $60,000 property. So we just thought, sure, we'll give him a shot, but that didn't work out well. We transitioned to another broker within the same office, and she was just
awesome.
Right. And I had just dealt with you on the Southern Pines house, so I knew the steps that should be happening. And so it sold, thank goodness.
Yeah. So, but when you're buying a home, you're buying a home not as a forever home, but as a home that you probably want to be looking at. And I wish more buyers would do what you do. Look at it for potential resale.
Yeah.
When you called me and said, I need a flooring contractor, I need a painter, I need to do a few things to enhance the value, that's what you were thinking about even before you had moved into the home.
Yeah, 100%. And it's a dance, right? To not spend too much on upgrades,
right?
And then turn around in 3 years and sell it,
right?
And then who really knows what's happening with the market, with the financial markets, with the real estate market. So we're gonna do a few projects on the house, and then we'll see. I'm gonna just take your advice along the way.
Well, interest rates, right now. Between 2.5% and 3%.
Yeah.
For people with the right credit.
Yeah.
And that makes it very fertile for purchasing.
Right.
Especially compared to renting.
Yeah.
That environment has been very good. It's helped fuel, and then there's been a low inventory.
Right.
As you know.
Right.
There were just so few choices.
Right.
So your multiple offer situation involved 4 offers. This year, and I know we have spoken on the phone.
Yeah.
I had one that had 9, one that had 6. Just 2 weekends ago, I was with a buyer, and they looked at a home in 7 Lakes South. Just went on the market. It was priced in the mid to high 2s. 8 offers in 3 days.
Yeah.
It's like
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And as long as the interest rate environment is so good, that's great for purchasing.
Right.
We have to keep our fingers crossed. But in terms of doing updating to your home, we have to look at the big picture.
Yeah.
You want to keep pace, but you don't want to exceed the neighborhood.
Right. Right. And I think we're already a little bit on the high end of our neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're on the high end of the price point of people looking.
That's correct. You're right where you need to be.
Yeah. So again, we don't want to invest a lot more money into the house.
Right.
But cosmetics. I mean, we painted the exterior. We put new carpets in. The carpets were original, I think. I think little things like that make a huge difference, just to modernize it a little bit, update it.
Yeah.
Every neighbor has come by and thanked us for painting the exterior.
Is that right?
It does look great.
Yeah.
And Cheryl did an amazing job.
Right.
So impressed.
Right. We had on a couple of weeks ago Clay Singletary.
Yeah.
From
I need to get him over to fix our pool, actually.
Pool Store of the Pines. Did you ever connect with him?
We talked last week, and he wasn't able to come over, but the pool was looking a little green yesterday, so I need to call him today.
Right. So I'm learning about pools because now I have one. I've inherited one. So all the rain and all the heat creates algae.
and all the little munchkins swimming around inside.
Yeah. Do you guys have a Polaris? Do you have a cleaner?
Yes.
Okay. So that sweeps the floor of the pool and the walls of the pool?
Yeah, we figured out how to do that, but nothing else.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like me, pool 101.
Yeah.
The guy talks to me like I'm a fourth grader.
Yeah, that's what I need.
Huh?
I need him to come over and I'm going to take notes.
Down the road, we need to get together. We can, want to start introducing you to some people because you've got to start. Now that you're here, you get your stuff unpacked.
Yeah.
Now you got to start living.
Yes.
And the environment here is a lot different than when you left 4 years, 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Vibrant.
Not as different as I expected.
Okay.
A lot of people said it was so different. So many people had moved in. There was so much more traffic. But I was happily surprised that it wasn't as bad as I expected. I think it's...
Well, where you live, you're in a quiet...
It is very quiet.
You don't have a lot of car traffic
It's
on
so
your
quiet.
street, right?
No car traffic.
So do the boys, are you comfortable letting them go out with their
Yes.
bikes on the street?
Yes, which is so nice because in Colorado Springs, we literally lived on the side of the Rocky Mountains. And so our street was so steep that if they went out the front door, they would have ended up at the bottom in another neighborhood. So it's so nice for them to just walk out the front door and ride their bikes or walk around. We met some kids in the neighborhood, so that's been nice.
Did you sell your property in Colorado?
No.
Okay.
That's a whole other story too. So that house we've had for 11 years and we've rented it. This is the second time around. We had a signed lease on it for July 1st with a great family who was going to move in. And then our orders changed 2 more times. I had to cancel that lease.
You lost them.
Lost it. I mean, I just had to, they needed a place to live and they couldn't wait another month or 2. And so I just waited. I kind of just had to let go of the reins, which is hard for me to do, and wait until we had orders again. And then I put it back on the market for more and got new tenants.
So you're landlords.
We're landlords, yeah. Yeah, so a nice family's living there now. Hopefully they'll take care of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that the sojourn has been completed and you made it here.
Gosh, yeah.
And in a few days after you get yourself all set up and
Yeah.
get in, you can actually say, okay, now we can take a deep breath.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that because I feel like I've been holding my breath since January
Yeah.
with everything.
It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of stress.
It really has been, yeah.
Have you been pleased with EDS and the way
Yeah.
they're handling, everything? I feel so bad for the schools, what they have to go through, and the parents.
And the parents. A good friend of mine who moved from Colorado Springs as well, whose husband is in the military, moved here to Whispering Pines, and her kids have school 2 days a week. And she said, Asia, I'm not a crier, but when they announced that, I cried tears.
Right.
Because it's just hard.
Right.
You know, you add everything and a move in a new place.
Right.
And then,
Right.
you know, homeschooling your kids. So I am so happy that we went with EDS. My Ty went to EDS for preschool. So it was a familiar place for him.
Yep.
And then the little one had pre-K anyway. So
Right.
he would have been there anyway. They're amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Back in March when they canceled school here,
Yeah.
we only had so many cases and so many deaths. Today, it's like multiplied so many 100 times over, and they're going back to school.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of schools on, and they talked about their plans. But the parents are stuck because
It's
you
hard.
go forward, you step back,
Yeah.
you stand in place. It's hard on the economy. It's hard on
is.
people's mentality. I mean,
It is. It's an impossible position.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful and I almost feel guilty that
Yeah.
they're in school full time and a
Yeah.
lot of kids aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Well,
tough.
I'm glad you made the return trip to Southern Pines.
I am too.
You're one of the most memorable clients I've ever had, and just your point of view and your inflection, everything. It's just been great, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you guys, your family, down the road as you stay here, and hopefully we'll keep you in Southern Pines for a long time.
I mean, I would be up for it.
Yeah. Asia Riesberg, thanks for coming in and doing this.
Thanks.
Now I know you want to go home and you want to get out of those boxes and get settled.
Yeah, I've got some unpacking to do this afternoon.
We appreciate you coming and sharing. Dorothy, point of view, right? Conviction, point of view.
Yep. I agree.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Everybody have a great week. This is All Things Moore County.